Alright, a little bit of Vengeance Day. You know, I have no real title for this video. And I think the only title I can come up with was okay. You know why? Because let's make this very clear. Nothing was amazing. It was exactly what we thought we were going to get. Opening, we got a street fight between a little Miss Jada Parker and a little bit of Blake Monroe. I knew that the match was going to be good. I also knew that the only person that made sense to win that match would be Blake. And she did win that match. She had to do everything she could and the kitchen sink to beat a Jada Parker, who looked great for that matter. In actuality, she looked really good. Was she more important than Blake Monroe? No, because let's make it very clear. They are pushing Blake because they want her on the main roster soon. They do. It's obvious. But the question here is what's going to happen with Miss Jada Parker? Because I do believe sooner or later they must do something with her. Either give her a championship or release her. I know I've been saying that a lot lately, but remember, we are near WrestleMania. And when WrestleMania comes and goes, people come and go. We get a lot of releases. And it's only a matter of time before we know who is going to be released, if they haven't already begun to be released. So in this situation, I got to say this. Jada Parker is on the fence for me personally. Not because I hate her. Nope, I actually like Jada Parker. But it's a question, is the WWE willing to keep her after many years now? She's been there for more than a few years. And they don't think they're ready, or because they've been accident prone or injured, they may say, well, yeah, she's doing all right, but she wasn't the same way she was before. She's lost a lot of her heat, or she just can't move the way she should move. They'll let them go. Even if they look great and people still like them, they'll let them go, guys. So when it comes to Jada Parker, I truly believe that either they're going to do something with her in the next couple of months, either push her to go into a title shot and maybe win it, or they may release her. Now you could say, dude, what about bringing her up to the main roster? If they're going to do that, they might as well bring up Blake Monroe. Blake would be the one to bring up more properly than a Jada Parker. But they let Jada win, didn't win here. It was Blake who won here. So either Jada is going to be released or is going to be pushed. I just don't see her going up to the main roster. Now, I could be wrong, but this is just me, guys, and below. Next, Devon Lennox versus Mr. Tony D. Now, this was supposed to be originally an ordinary fight, but it was made very clear by Lennox that the moment this boy showed up in the parking lot, it was on site. He made it very clear he was going to beat him up and his boys were going to be there with him. And for quite a while, they were getting the butts kicked a bit by Mr. Tony D. Eventually, Tony was losing until it was decided by someone above out the mud that he was straight with us. He was respectful to us. Or maybe, why don't we just help his ass? Because we can't stand Dark State. So Out the Mud helped them out a little bit. They started fighting with Dark State. Mainly due to the fact of what happened with that triple threat. Or was it a four-way? I can't remember. I think it was a four-way match for that title. But the key was they helped out. And then the match finally, after fighting in the hallways, in the parking lot, it finally went to the ring. And eventually, he was beaten. We finally got retribution, or vengeance, if you want to say it that way. I say retribution. For a Devon. You know what this is? Here's the problem. Lennox, I don't hate him. But he's part of a faction I don't care about. I'd stopped caring about them once they stopped working with TNA. Because that was the only time they felt important. Since then, let me ask you, honestly ask you, has Dark State meant anything to NXT? They haven't felt important at all. They just beat people up, but they're supposed to have relevancy. Relevancy is important, and the relevancy was done. I didn't feel anything for them. I still don't feel anything for them. It's not that I don't like Suge. It's not that I don't like Osiris. It's not that I don't like Cutler. And it wasn't that I didn't like Lennox, but they were done. They had one time to do something that felt kind of important, and it was cut very short. It didn't last long. Yes, they were working with the system for a while, and it would have been interesting to see each of them work in NXT and TNA. They didn't have to be a full faction. They could have just kept one at a time going over to TNA and trying to make something more of what they had. That could have gave them more opportunities, and there was nothing. They were just brought in as a faction. They had to feud with the system, and after a while, they were done. And that was the end. That it just felt like either TNA didn't want to deal with them, or NXT didn't want to keep lending them out to TNA because they didn't either want to make them important or they didn't want to hurt them. There you go. Now, the North American Championship for the women. Tatum Paxley. Easy day. The culling at ringside. This was a long time coming. I knew that when you look at Tatum, she's a fan favorite. At this point, they had to do something. And I believe that she had to win this match. There was no way she was going to lose this. If she lost it, and I'm being honest here, if Tatum had lost the match, and it was a good match, it wasn't a bad one. In fact, I thought most of the match from the beginning and the middle was pretty good. It felt a little sloppy at the end. That's just me. You guys have a different opinion. You may say the beginning part was a little sloppy, even though it was supposed to be more dramatic. I felt that it was a good match. But in the end, seeing that Izzy was getting so frustrated and could not believe that Tatum was this tough to beat, and that is what cost her. Now the big question is this. What are they going to do with, not Tatum, what are they going to do with Izzy? This is a big question. Like I've said already when it came to Miss Parker, it's coming. This is not about if I don't like Izzy Dane. I think she's a good wrestler and she can talk very well. I don't know if they will bring her up to the main roster. I just don't see it yet. With so many people already there and they're not doing a lot with them, I don't see her going up there. So it's going to be one of two things. One, she's going to keep having a feud with Tatum for quite a while. Or we're just going to stop seeing her after a certain amount of time. When that happens, it's either she is going to be revamped into somebody different, or she's going to be released. That's the way it is. Do I believe they're going to release Tatum? No, not yet. I don't see them releasing Tatum. She's very popular. So I do believe maybe by the end of the year, she might come up to the main roster and work with Lyra and maybe Bayley together as a faction. Maybe all three of them may work together as a faction. I don't know yet. This is just my point of view. This is my idea. No one else. You guys tell me below what you think. But that's what I think is going to happen. Now, the NXT Underground. I didn't expect a lot from this match. Not because I thought the match quality was going to be bad. I don't see them jobbing out. I don't think they would do that to Lola Vice. I just don't, because right now Lola is a mixed tag champion. I believe she's with Mr. Iguano as a mixed tag champ. And at this point, if you haven't noticed, she's working in AAA more than she is working in NXT. Well, technically, she's working a little less, but you could really think of her as working in that lower level developmental. And if anybody tells you AAA is not a developmental, yes it is. It's a developmental. That's what it is. Eventually, we're going to see more people from AAA trickle into either Evolve or NXT, depending on how developed they are. And do they believe, like Triple H or Shawn Michaels believe, they are worth it? But I'm telling you right now, Lola is going to be working more in AAA, I think, than NXT. I mean, we've seen her work NXT, but honestly, she's going to be more in AAA. Because, let's make it clear, she's a Latin American star, she's Cubano, and they're going to keep doing that. They're going to keep catering to people down in Mexico, having her there, working with Mr. Iguano. Do I believe that's the wisest thing to do? If you're going by a business standpoint, of course it is. You want to keep people in Mexico happy. But I say this, and I still believe this, that everyone thinks that AAA is going to stay exactly the same way it is. I don't see it that way. I think maybe by next year, they're going to change. They will change. There is no way AAA is going to stay in the same condition it is now. I just don't see it. I just don't. If they don't change the name, they're going to sooner or later change the style because WWE is going to demand it. And unless the original owner of AAA has a ironclad contract that says AAA stays exactly as my husband and I made it, that sucker is going to change. NXT Mexico might really become a thing. I'm just saying. Now, before we get started here with the final match, I'm going to say this. Seeing 3 Evolve vignettes. Okay. 2 of them I do recognize from LFG. But, do I care? No. Because I don't watch Evolve. I don't care about Evolve. It's not about if it's good or not on Tibu. What is it? Timu. Or is it Timu? Tibu. I'm forgetting the name of that. It's like Pluto. I'm forgetting the name of it. I'm blanking. I know you're going to say down below. I'm just forgetting how to pronounce it. I know what it is. But do I care about them? No. It's going to count on when they're going to come up to the main roster of NXT. That is the main tier roster for the developmental. You got AAA, you got Evolve, and then you have NXT. I could fit TNA in there, but they just do exchange back and forth. But you get my point. It's going to depend on when they finally bring them up. Do I believe they're going to do well? I don't know. Maybe. But it's a big question if. If we'll see them, not when. If. Now, the segment with JC James, Saruka, and Zarya. You forget about the other 2, even though they're both sexy, and one of them, I gotta say this, one of them decided not to wear nipple patches or pasties, and that's Reed. She chose to let people see the outlines of her nipples, and when the cameramen noticed that, they were trying not to be so up in front of it, but unfortunately, because she was so close to JC, it's impossible not to have seen the outline of her nipples. This is why women, smart women in the wrestling business, make sure with certain clothes you always wear pasties on your nipples, even if you're not working in a match, because sometimes it could be very, not saying provocative, I liked it, but there are going to be some people who say it might be a little too provocative what she was wearing. It doesn't bother me, but I'm just saying it. I'm going to say this about the triple threat, because what they said isn't something that hasn't been said about what Soul said to JC and Saruka. Saruka going straight for Zarya and then basically giving a soul snatcher after the talk and that fight. Everything's already been said. Zarya said her bit, Saruka said her bit, and JC said a bit. The question here is this, and I pose this to you. Who amongst those 3 do you believe is the best to keep that title? Because that's what it feels like. This is a big question. Who is the best to hold that title? Is it JC James to hold it and to stand and deliver? Maybe because they have someone they really want her to go up against for stand and deliver? Is it Saruka? Which would be the wisest thing to do, because then Zarya will come after Soul, since Zarya was the one who went after Soul in the first place. Or is it Zarya who finally would get her due, which wouldn't make any sense because she should get it at a signature PLE, which would be stand and deliver. You guys tell me below. Final match. Ricky Saints versus Joe Henry for the World Championship. Now, of course, we saw Ethan Page upset and a little pep talk that he got about, you're going to be a champion again, a two-time champion, a two-time North American champion, as Ricky Saints was trying to convince him not to come after the world title. But as you saw from the match, which was actually a good match, it was pretty good. One of the things I got to say about Joe Henry is that he's a bit stiff. Now, mind you, he can wrestle. But you can notice that bigger guys sometimes just are a little more stiffer than other smaller wrestlers like Ricky Saints. Ricky is not like one of the most flexible guys, but he's more flexible than a Joe Henry. But he did pretty good in his work and trying to make it really look good. And I like that match the most out of all the matches here. But eventually, when Ethan Page came out, what did we get? We got Ethan coming out. He's grabbed the title. He's staring at it like I'm staring into the air like this, thinking about, this used to be mine. Maybe I should try and go for this damn thing. And with two botches under his belt now, that one, he wasn't listening to Ricky, who wanted him to give him the title, and then two, when Ricky managed to get up on a little edge on a Joe Henry, he's saying, give me the title, and he shoves it past a Ricky Saints into Joe Henry's hands. Let's make this very clear. Next week, we're going to see them both arguing between each other. The question's going to be, who will be going after Joe again? I don't know who. My feeling is they're going to go after each other, and maybe it'll be a triple threat at Stand and Deliver from Joe, Ricky, and Ethan. I could be wrong. Maybe there might be someone new that we don't know about. I'm not really thinking about it, but you never know. There could be someone that we don't know that could show up. Now, it could be Powerhouse Hobbs who shows up before Stand and Deliver. Maybe he'll show up and will debut at Stand and Deliver. I don't think he will be the one that's going to be going after the title with Joe Henry. I don't think they would be that stupid to do that. That would not look good on Royce. I don't think Royce Keys should be doing that, but I wouldn't put it past NXT because they like to do shock. I don't agree with it, but this is what we got. And we got a okay show. It was okay. No. It was plain but good. I think that's the title. Plain but good. But this is just my point of view. Give me a comment below. Give a like and comment. At least people may look at me if you comment. Because if you've already subscribed, it doesn't really, not subscribe. Yeah, subscribed already to my channel. Just leave a comment and a like. Peace.